The ethics workshop follows this general structure. Their values, which means the student, our values, which means Gonzaga, their behaviors, congruency between their behaviors and values, and living a life with compatible values and behaviors. Please use the ethics facilitator guide to help you through this workshop. It is a good idea to go back to the students while talking to make sure you cover everything. There are spaces in each section for you to fill out notes for both Esther and yourself.
Start the workshop by introducing yourself. Then explain the purpose of the course to the students. Next, set some ground rules. Examples are listed in the guide. Lastly, take some time to let the students introduce themselves. Often, the more the students talk, the easier the workshop will go. Push them in the beginning to get them talking. Often, when they get involved, the workshop goes a lot easier. When you have them introduce themselves, ask them a fun question like, "What's your favorite YouTube video?" so that they can loosen up a little bit and talk about something they know a lot about. Alright, hi everyone, I'm Ella. I'm a sophomore here at Gonzaga. I'm an RA, and I'm going to talk a little about why you're here. Obviously you're here for the ethics course. We're here because of who we are and who we hope you'll become, and we're just going to talk a little bit about what you've done that brought you here today. First going to set some ground rules. There's a big rule of privacy. Whatever you say here, safe space, doesn't leave the room. Please be respectful of that. And so just don't be afraid to share whatever you feel, whatever you think you need to share. I'm going to ask that you don't use your cell phones. Just be respectful of what people have to say. Thank you very much. So first we're just going to take some time to go around and introduce ourselves. How about your name and your grade or your class standing, however you want to say it. And fun question, what's your favorite YouTube video? Just get to know you a little bit. Start with you.
My name's Katie. I'm a senior, and I really like kids, so I like kids.
All right.
Yeah. I'm Emily. I'm a junior, and I don't really have a favorite YouTube video. I probably just like the ones with like little puppies that are falling over or something. The goats.
I'm Derek. I'm a junior, and my favorite video is probably Power Thirst.
Good choice. Solid choice.
My name is Sarah. I am a super senior, and my favorite YouTube video is probably Scarlet Takes a Tumble.
Nice.
I'm Quinn. I'm a freshman, and my favorite video is for sure Jessica's Daily Affirmations.
Have the students take the ethics workshop quiz at this time. The quizzes are located in the case. Make sure they work independently as they fill out the quiz. You will then move into discussion about their answers. Challenge them to explain their answers. It is important that they understand their own opinions. After this discussion, the group will have to come up with a ranking together. It really does not matter what their end result is, but this will spark discussion within the group. At this time, you will go through some reflection questions with the group. The questions can be found in your facilitator guide. The first two questions are the most important. What influences the decisions you make? Where do your personal values come from? The rest of the workshop will be focusing on the potential disconnect between their values and their behaviors, so make sure you really challenge them in this reflection.
At this time, split the participants into 2 groups. Have 3 people per group so that the numbers are equal. Make sure no one is working alone. Everyone will be working on the same case study for this section. It is called Quincy Troop. Please make sure you familiarize yourself with the case study before your first workshop.
The goal of the group is to write out the problem, the various alternatives, and work together to come up with a decision that falls in line with the values they just discussed. It is important that they do not deviate from their defined values as they decide how to handle the situation. After each group works together, they will present their findings to the larger group. They will do the presenting, so you just need to observe. The only time you should chime in is if they are getting off topic or if they have a question.
This Quincy guy, he sounds like he messed up, but it's alright. I mean, I had a professor last semester who would come into class and he would text every day. Have you guys had him? Professor Law? Like, crazy. Crazy.
Johnson, how does that relate to our case study?
The university ethos will be an important part of this section. In case you don't remember the ethos, it is respect for oneself, respect for others, respect for property, respect for authority, honesty, and integrity. In order for the students to be attending this workshop, they have been found responsible for violating one or more parts of the ethos. Students may struggle with this portion if they do not think that Gonzaga is consistent with its own values. In order to get at university values, we will ask the students the following questions. 1. What are Gonzaga's values? And 2. How do you know these are Gonzaga's values? Where do you see them? Use the whiteboard to write their answers. Make sure that you connect that Gonzaga's actions are likely a far greater demonstration of its values than what's written down. This is something you will get better at with time, so just do your best and ask your co-facilitator for advice if you are struggling. Copies of the ethos are provided to you. Hand them out to students and spend some time discussing the different parts and highlight areas and allow for some discussion after the ethos. There are many prompts and examples in your guidebook, so make sure you use it.
This is the part of the workshop where the student talks about what they did to get sanctioned to become part of the workshop. They need a chance to tell their story. This is not optional, even if there are multiple people from the same incident. It is important that each voice is heard and that it's told from their own perspective. This is not a time for joking or laughing, and it's not a time to be accusatory toward RAs or other people. Try to keep them focused on what happened. Let them use I statements so it becomes more personal for their matter. Alright, so now's the time that we're going to have you all discuss exactly why you were sanctioned to come to this workshop. So if we could start with Katie.
Okay, so, like, a week ago, I was at my friend's apartment in DeSoto. Me and Heather were both there. And, it was kind of like a birthday party thing, sort of theme. I don't know, whatever. And, like, everyone was drinking Four Locos and stuff. And, like, it wasn't even loud. That's the thing. I don't know why we got, like, written up because it wasn't loud. Like, I don't know that the RAs could hear us. Like, I think they probably were, like, I don't know, had a quota or something, or, like, looked in the windows because, like, we weren't, like, did you think we were loud? It was, like, quiet.
I think they just don't like her, like...
Yeah, it was just
Okay,
stupid,
well,
like...
It seems like you're very annoyed by the RAs, but can we discuss exactly what your behavior was on that night?
Okay, so we were drinking, it was, like, probably, like, 10:30, and we were gonna go out and go to a party. It was, like, right before we left, and then we, like, heard the RAs come knock. So, like... Our friend answered the door, and, like, I went and ran and hid in the shower in the apartment because I didn't want to get written up because my parents would just, like, kill me. So, like, I was trying to hide the whole time.
So, Heather, you were involved in the same incident with Katie. Can you detail your perspective for me?
It was basically like she said. RAs came, and I just gave them a fake name and ID number, and that's basically it.
Can I get your perspective from the very beginning of the situation?
Yeah, I don't know, like, when we showed up, it was probably, like, around 9-ish, and we just started playing games, trying to pregame pretty well before we went out to parties, and, yeah, I don't really remember, like, why or how the RA got called, and then I just remember them basically, like, being in the room, so, yeah.
After they finished telling their stories, challenge their perceptions. Ask questions in areas that seem to not quite connect. Don't be rude or accusatory. Just put it back on them. How does this line up in their lives? You may want to take notes so that you can ask good questions, but make sure you take the notes in your booklet or take them on a separate sheet of paper and give them back to Esther so she can shred them.